Hi everyone, I'm here with my May food favourites, and I know May was quite a long time ago, but I've been travelling quite a bit and really busy and I didn't have time to film it beforehand. I'm going to start off with two favourite cookbooks from the month, and May, especially the beginning of May, was really the month of preserving for me. I spent a whole bank holiday weekend making jam, and I became really obsessed with preserving books, and I was reading lots of jam making cookbooks at this time. And as I said, I spent the bank holiday making jam, and the two books which guided me were Perfect Preserves by Thane Prince and Salt, Sugar, Smoke by Diana Henry. Perfect Preserves is what I'd characterise as slightly more traditional preserving book. It's got lots of very classic recipes, and the recipes use a lot of iconic British flavours and combinations such as rhubarb and strawberry, and it has a very traditional and classic raspberry jam, very clean, simple, pure, and most of the recipes are really characterised by this traditional approach. And Salt, Sugar, Smoke by Diana Henry I consider to be slightly more international and slightly more unusual in focus, and also the jams tend to be lower in sugar and a softer set than the Perfect Preserves books, which has a more traditional approach, so we'll use a firmer set jam in most cases. And both have been really successful for me. That's why I really like both of them. I made the rhubarb and strawberry butter from Perfect Preserves, and also the lemon marmalade and the raspberry jam, and they all came out so well. The instructions in this book are so clear and really helpful for a first-time preserver, which is really what I am. I have made some jam before, but not very much. And the guidance was very clear. It was easy to follow the steps, the guidance on sterilising jars was easy, and it made me feel very comfortable. I had someone sort of taking me by the hand and really guiding me through every single step, so that was very helpful. Diana Henry's book, it suggests that you improvise a bit more and cook things to your own taste and so on, which is also really good because it builds that confidence and it enables you to start learning what you like. And from this book I made the passion fruit and kumquat marmalade, so you can already see it's a little bit different to the recipes that I mentioned from Thane Prince's Perfect Preserves book. And in the past I've also made the grapefruit marmalade, and they both have come out really well. It's a great book. There's a lot of interesting meat preserving recipes in here as well. I don't know if I'd actually be brave enough to do those, but it's an excellent book. Really well written. Diana Henry's a wonderful writer. She's the food columnist for the Telegraph newspaper, and her writing is absolutely beautiful. So two really lovely preserving books, and we're going into the summer, soft fruit season. Definitely time to start preserving if you're into that, and these two books will not lead you astray, I think, and give you some great ideas. Okay, on to my dish of the month, and it's from the original Cook Yourself Thin cookbook, Thai seafood and vermicelli noodle salad. And obviously my main criteria for the dish of the month is that it's absolutely delicious and memorable, but this one's also very quick and easy. It's based on a pack of mixed cooked seafood, standard pack that you can buy in any British supermarket, and a pack of cooked peeled prawns. I did buy raw prawns and just cook them quickly myself because I prefer that. And it's then mixed with vermicelli noodles, rice noodles, and things like spring onions, ginger, chili, herbs. So it's a very delicious and fresh tasting salad. It comes together really quickly. It's very punchy. It tastes very light, so it won't weigh you down. It's actually perfect for warm summer evenings, even though we haven't had many of those. It's very refreshing. It's just very bold. If you like Asian flavours, you will like this. It's the perfect balance of that saltiness, the sharpness from the lime juice, and and the chili providing a little bit of heat, the freshness and pungency from the herbs, which she uses coriander and mint in this, and I used coriander and Thai basil because I couldn't find mint for some reason when I made this, and I also substituted soy sauce for fish sauce as called for in the recipe. Fish sauce is a very Thai flavour, but I really don't like it at all. The fermented fish just doesn't do it for me. So I always substitute soy sauce in recipes which call for it, and it works out absolutely fine. So this is an absolutely delicious, perfect midweek dinner type dish, and I would highly recommend making it. Thirdly, my restaurant of the month, and if you've read my blog, you'll know that I visited New York City. I ate at some really wonderful restaurants. I will definitely be mentioning quite a few of them in my June food favourites, but the one I ate in May is the Momofuku Sambar. And Momofuku is, it's not quite a chain, it's a collection of a couple of different restaurants which were founded by David Chang, and the focus is Korean fusion. Sam means wrapped, so it's based on food which is wrapped, so it's perfect for lunch actually. And myself and my boyfriend went there, and we had the prawn wraps as a starter and the steamed pork bao, and then we shared a lamb sam. All the food was astoundingly good. The prawn wrap was punchy and fresh and delicious. The wrap was actually a daikon, thinly sliced daikon, so it's low carb. And the pork, the steamed pork bun, it was one of those which are folded over, and there's a filling inside rather than the char siu bao style. It was so divine. The pork was meltingly tender, and the bread, the steamed bread, was so delicate, and it's obviously it's quite an unusual texture anyway. The gochujang sauce that they served at the sambar was out of this world delicious. It was punchy and fragrant and vibrant, and it was one of those things where the food didn't actually need extra flavour poured onto it in the form of the sauce, because it was so flavourful in and of itself, but you also wanted to pour the sauce over literally everything you could because it was so delicious. And the lamb sam was also really wonderful. Obviously all the food was great, that's why it was such a spectacular restaurant experience, and it was sort of rich and slightly oily and unctuous, not in a bad way, just not in a very vegetarian way. And it was just perfectly balanced, really rich and hearty, and just spicy enough. And the wrap was, I don't know if it was a tortilla wrap, but it was a bread wrap type of thing. And usually Korean wraps are lettuce or some other kind of vegetable. So that, I suppose, represented the fusion. Anyway, the food was spectacular. The service was lovely. I would go again and again and again if it was in London and not in New York City. Highly, highly recommended. That's Momofuku, which means lucky peach. Really cute. The peach motif is on everything. Okay, my next favourite is a sort of cooking related item, and you might think, what is this? It's Foodhuggers. So I'm just holding that up. And Foodhuggers are a kind of silicone lid. They come in varying sizes. When you put them on something, or around a vegetable or on a tin, they form a seal. The silicone sort of seals it. And I've had these for a while, and I've used them for quite a while, but it was in May that I was usually using them actually quite a lot more than I usually do. And they really do keep fruit when you've got a fruit half, maybe an onion, a lemon. A lemon is really common. I've even had half a pepper that I've kept in this very big one. it really keeps it a lot fresher and crunchier than even if you've wrapped them in plastic. They don't sweat in the same way. Or if you put them in a loose box, the edges will dry out. You don't experience that when you put them in the Foodhugger because the silicone seals around it. As you can see, it's sealed around the coconut milk. The silicone is adhering really tightly to that, and that's really handy when you've opened a tin. Or it's also really useful for yogurt pots, those plastic yogurt pots, which often they have a very flimsy lid which can easily go missing, or you don't always have the lid in the supermarket. It may have come off, and then you've just got the peel off top. And it's really annoying when you've peeled off the top and it just has to sit there in your fridge uncovered, or you need to cover it with plastic wrap and it comes off. These Foodhugger seals are really, really handy for situations like that. And what's good about them as well is they're a little bit pliable and stretchable. So obviously a red pepper, which is what I put in this, and it kept it fresh for a really, really long time, and the edges didn't dry out, isn't this perfect circle, but you can pull it a little bit and it will have that give around the edge of the fruit, which I've seen more rigid food savers which don't have that. They don't have that flexibility. So that flexibility, that pliability is a really important part of what makes a Foodhugger so useful and keeps food fresh for so long. And the 4 sizes are really handy. The only thing I wish is that you could buy the sizes separately as well as in the set, because I tend to use some of them more than others. This is the perfect size for a lemon, incidentally, so they're all really good sizes. A lemon or a small onion, a slightly larger onion, or some other small fruits. I've cut an apple in half, and I just saved the other half for a snack. And the cut side of the apple was completely still white on the inside. There was no browning because it had sealed it in so airtight, which was amazing. This large size for peppers, as I mentioned. I suppose sometimes you get really huge onions. It would be good for that. And also those yogurt pots, and this is perfect for tins and yogurt pots. So all the sizes are really good, really appropriate for different foods, but it would be good if you could buy them separately as well. I bought my Foodhuggers from Lakeland. They were $9.99, which I guess is quite expensive for a bit of plastic, but they really work very, very effectively, and they save food. So they're actually, although they're an expensive initial outlay for what they are, they do help you save money by preserving your food for longer. So great stuff. Really, really love these. Okay, on to my first food item proper, and it's the Yo Valley 0% fat natural yogurt. I usually eat either skyr with granola for breakfast. I mentioned skyr in my last food favorites video, or I will eat something like overnight oats, and I make overnight oats with yogurt. And I very rarely eat full fat dairy products. I am quite concerned about reducing my overall calorie intake, so I wanted to go for a low fat yogurt. But a lot of low fat yogurts don't have a very nice texture. You really lose out on that wonderful creaminess, which is such a nice textural balance to the tanginess of yogurt. But the Yo Valley 0% yogurt, although it is completely fat-free, it is still very, very creamy. It tastes very smooth. It's not too sharp. It still is very high in protein, and it has a lot of calcium. So you're getting the nutritional benefits of eating yogurt, but not all of the fat, which for me is very helpful on a day-to-day basis. I do sometimes still eat full-fat yogurt, but on a day-to-day basis, I really benefit from using this 0% fat yogurt. It's really tasty, really creamy, and yeah, just an all-round winner for my breakfasting needs. On to the next food item, and it is almond butter, specifically the Meridian brand of almond butter, and you can see here a massive 1 kilo tub of it. And I really like almond butter. I discovered it when a smoothie recipe called for it, and I just bought a small jar of it, and very quickly realised that I much prefer it to peanut butter. And it's just much sweeter, naturally sweeter. This is 100% almonds, and it doesn't have any palm oil, as it says here, which is great because palm oil contributes to deforestation. And it's just pure almond. It doesn't have any added salt, any added sugar. So you've got a very pure, rich, nutty flavour. And Meridian's almond butter is based on roasted almonds, and I think that toastedness means that it doesn't actually taste of marzipan, which is good because I really don't like marzipan at all. It just tastes of crushed, buttery, smooth almonds. Obviously, almond butter is very high in fat, but fortunately a little bit goes a long way. I have it occasionally as a snack with cut up apples. I will have it sometimes on a cracker or on a piece of toast. I very often use it in smoothies. And I just think it's absolutely delicious. That's the most important thing about this. I buy these huge tubs in Holland and Barrett. I've also seen them at Whole Foods, but I've not seen such large tubs in supermarkets like Sainsbury's. And if you are getting through quite a few of the jars, this is much more economical. If you only use it occasionally, I would just go for the jar. I love this brand. I like the purity of the flavour. It's a lovely addition to my kitchen, and what I really like about it as well is that just a little bit of almond butter will keep you full for quite a long time, probably because of the fat and protein in it. So it's a great thing to add to smoothies or granola or something if you're someone who gets hungry very quickly after breakfast. And now on to a snack that I've been really enjoying, and it's a little Graze box, the Smokehouse BBQ Crunch. Graze used to be a subscription-only service, but now you can buy their little snack boxes in the supermarket. I recently tried the Smokehouse BBQ Crunch because I happened to see it in Sainsbury's and I've not seen it before, and I really like it. Crunch is a very appropriate word, so I'll just pull it out to show you. It's got the dried peas and the dried jumbo corn kernels and some little, I think they're maize-based crunchy biscuit type things, and it's all doused in barbecue seasoning, so garlic, tomato, paprika. It's absolutely delicious, sort of smoky, salty, a tiny bit of sweetness. The crunchiness keeps things interesting. I think it's really important when you're snacking that you're sort of engaging your mouth and engaging your jaw and really feeling that you're eating something substantial. And it's only 137 calories, but it feels very satisfying. My favourite part is the jumbo corn kernels. They are so good. I do really like crunchiness, so that's particularly good for me. I would suggest if you are someone who gets a bit hungry in the afternoon that this might be a worthy addition to your snack repertoire, especially if you like barbecue flavour. But even if you don't, because a lot of barbecue seasoning is quite acrid, this does not have a sharp acidity to it. It's a very soft and smoky flavour. So if you like smoky things like smoked paprika, you will really like this. And it's about 120, 129, I think. So for the amount you get, it's not that economical, but it's nice on occasion to have. Really delicious. That's Graze Smokehouse BBQ Crunch. I'm on to my final food favourite for the month of May now, and it's the Tailors of Harrogate Sweet Rhubarb Tea, which is made in association with the Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew. And I bought this on a whim. It comes in individually sealed packs, which is handy if you want to put them in your handbag for work. It's obviously not the most environmentally friendly way of packaging because there's a lot of extra packaging. But I bought this more or less on a whim because I wanted to try some new fruit teas, and it is a really lovely fruit tea. Now, a lot of fruit teas I find are very strong on fragrance. They have a great fragrance, but very weak on flavour, and they are quite insipid. This is not the case with this sweet rhubarb tea. It actually tastes of rhubarb. It has quite a a strong, a distinctive flavour. It has a bit of acidity and sharpness, so it is sweet. You don't need to add sweetener to it, even if you normally take tea with sweetener, which I do as well. I take it with honey, but I don't need to put honey in this one. So it's nice if you want to cut down on the sweetener you're having in tea. And it actually tastes of something, which is rare for a fruit tea. It tastes sweet and rounded, but it has a bit of sharpness, so it does actually taste of rhubarb. And it's just really delicious. It's light and refreshing. I can imagine it would be really nice chilled. And I actually brought this to a friend's house. We were having lunch in a big group, and all of my friends were saying how wonderful this was and how unusual, and asking me where I bought it. I bought this in Waitrose. I think you can buy it in Sainsbury's as well, and probably other supermarkets. I've just seen it in those two. It's really unusual for a fruit tea. I really enjoy it, and it's a nice addition to my wardrobe of teas. I have quite an extensive tea wardrobe, and it is based on hibiscus rose hips, sweet blackberry leaves, apple, and natural flavourings, including natural rhubarb flavouring. So it doesn't look like it has any actual rhubarb in it, but regardless of that, it's very nice. Those were my food favourites for the month of May. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next month for my June food favourites.